This is the Golden Gate. It's the East Gate, known as the Mercy Gate to Jerusalem. As you can tell, it's been sealed up for a long. For nearly 5 centuries, one gate in, Jerusalem has remained completely sealed. Blocked not by decay, but by intention. Not forgotten, but deliberately silenced. The Golden Gate, also known as the Eastern Gate, stands frozen in time. Its stones unmoved since 1541. No footsteps pass through it, no doors creak open. Nothing enters, nothing leaves. Because this isn't just any gate. This is the gate prophecy warned about. For centuries, both Jewish and Christian, traditions have pointed to this exact entrance as the place where the Messiah will return. It's believed to be the same path where Jesus Christ once entered the city before his crucifixion. An event many say fulfilled ancient prophecy written long before it happened. And ever since, this gate has carried a weight no other structure on earth holds. So, why was it sealed? Some say it was a political move by Suleiman the Magnificent, a ruler trying to maintain control over a volatile land. Others believe something deeper, that he knew the prophecy and feared it. To make sure no holy one could ever pass through, a cemetery was placed directly in front of it, creating a barrier not just of stone, but of spiritual law. And for 480 years, it worked. Until now, because reports, whispers at first, now impossible to ignore, claim that something within the sealed structure has changed. Inner chambers once untouched are no longer silent. Openings have been seen. Access has been gained. And those who've stepped close say the air itself feels different. If this gate was meant to stay closed until the return of the Messiah, then what does it mean if it's opening now? Before we expose what's really happening behind those ancient stones, hit like and subscribe, because some say the truth behind this gate was never meant to be revealed. The gate wasn't just closed for protection. It was sealed with intention. In Ezekiel 44:2, an ancient prophecy whispers through time. This gate is to remain shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through it. That statement alone changes everything. This was not the act of a king. It was a divine decree. According to many scholars, this prophecy points to the moment Jesus rode into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, crossing the Mount of Olives and entering through the Eastern Gate, fulfilling the vision laid out in Zechariah 9:9. But after that moment, something shifted. If the presence of the Lord entered through that gate, as Ezekiel wrote, then it was never meant to be opened again until he returns. And yet, Suleiman, unaware or defiant, did what prophecy had already foretold. He sealed it shut, believing he could stop what was written. But in doing so, he may have fulfilled it instead. Time and again, others have tried to undo what God may have ordained. In 1917, as Muslim leaders prepared to demolish the gate entirely, British forces unexpectedly took control of Jerusalem, halting the plan. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israeli leaders considered reopening it, but a respected rabbi warned them, only the Messiah may open that gate. History has tried to interfere, but something has resisted, like invisible hands holding the stones in place. And now, with the inner passage reportedly accessible for the first time in centuries, we are left to ask, was this man's decision, or has God allowed a door to crack open as a sign? Jerusalem has many gates. Some have been destroyed, some rebuilt, others renamed and forgotten. But the Golden Gate, it doesn't behave like the rest. It has become a symbol of defiance, not against man, but against time itself. Every attempt to tamper with it seems to echo back with consequences, as if unseen forces are guarding what was sealed long ago. Even when peace treaties have been signed, the Eastern Gate remains untouched. Even when bulldozers have carved new paths, no stone of this gate has been removed. Even when the world changes, this gate stays the same. And perhaps that's why what's happening now is so alarming. In 2019, reports emerged that the inner chamber of the gate, the part hidden behind centuries of brick and silence, was quietly opened, not to kings, not to generals, but to worshippers. Photos circulated, videos leaked, Some showed people praying inside the once sealed vestibule. Others suggested ongoing renovations behind the walls. Authorities offered no clear explanation. But for prophecy watchers, this wasn't politics. It wasn't coincidence. It was a signal. Because Scripture says this gate was shut because God had entered through it. And if it's starting to open again, even from the inside, then the question that has lingered for generations becomes urgent. Is he coming back soon? Because a gate like this doesn't move on its own. And if it does, it means something or someone is approaching. The stones of Jerusalem have always spoken through scars, carvings, and ancient dust. But the Golden Gate speaks without ever opening its mouth. It speaks through its stillness, through its refusal to change, through the hands that have tried to move it and failed. There was a time when leaders believed they controlled history, that they could seal a gate, build a wall, or redraw borders, and in doing so, contain prophecy. But the Golden Gate has outlived them all. No other gate in the world has resisted change like this one. The Ottomans bricked it shut. The Crusaders once opened it, only for it to be sealed again. Muslim leaders tried to raise it. Israeli forces debated unlocking it. Each time, the story paused. Each time, the gate remained. And then came 2019, when the silence inside broke for the first time in centuries. The outer face remained sealed, still, strong, unmoving. But the inner side, behind the stones, was accessed quietly, almost like a whisper. Those who entered didn't bring swords or scrolls. They brought prayers. What does it mean when the heart of the gate is opened, but its face remains sealed? Could it be a spiritual message not yet visible to the world, but already awakening inside? If the gate itself is a clock, then the hands may have just shifted. Not striking midnight, not yet, but moving. And prophecy does not shout. It doesn't tweet or broadcast. It whispers. And this whisper came from the inside of a wall once thought untouchable. Directly across from the Golden Gate lies the Mount of Olives, a quiet slope scattered with olive trees and ancient graves. But this mountain is more than geography. It's the stage. In Zechariah 14, it is written that when the Lord returns, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, and it will split in two. This isn't metaphor. This is location-specific prophecy. And the gate that faces it is no accident. The mount and the gate are perfectly aligned, one looking into the other like a mirror from eternity. It's not poetic. It's strategic, as if Jerusalem was built to prepare for one moment. In his first coming, Jesus approached from this very mountain. He rode down its slope, across the Kidron Valley, and entered the city. Not through any of the southern or western gates, but this one. The one that was never meant to open again until his return. That entry wasn't a parade. It was a prophetic signal. And now, with rumors of the gate's interior awakening and global attention shifting once again to Jerusalem's east, that alignment matters because this gate does not face Rome. It does not face Mecca. It does not face Washington. It faces the place where his feet will stand. And if prophecy is true, if the geography matters, then this isn't just old stone. It's a door, one that was closed for a reason, and may be preparing to open for a purpose. What happens next isn't about politics. It's about timing. And only one figure is worthy to walk through that gate. Two religions, two timelines, one gate. For Jews, the Golden Gate is where the long-awaited Messiah will enter to restore the kingdom of Israel, to reign in peace, and to bring justice to the nations. For Christians, it is the gate through which Jesus already entered, and the one he will enter again, not in humility, but in glory. What's astonishing is this. Both agree the gate is tied to a divine return. That kind of unity is rare, but this gate carries it. It's known in Hebrew tradition as Sha'ar Harachamim, the gate of mercy. Not wrath, not war, mercy. That alone suggests something beyond politics or empire. It hints at redemption. And while beliefs differ in form, they align in timing. Both traditions expect that the gate will open when the end of the age approaches, and that when it opens, everything changes. This shared expectation is what makes the recent activity so spiritually electric. The idea that the inner passage, once sealed, has been accessed, has sent ripples through both communities. Some say it's just a renovation. Others believe it's a foreshadowing. If you believe the gate opens with the Messiah, then a gate cracking open could mean he is closer than we think. And if both Jews and Christians are watching the same gate, waiting for the same event, then this isn't coincidence. It's convergence. Because whether you call him Messiah ben David or King of Kings, everyone agrees this gate will open when he comes. Throughout history, men have tried to control what God has declared. They have drawn borders with blood, rewritten laws with fear, and built barriers where prophecy said a king would walk. But every time they touched the Golden Gate, something pushed back. In the early 1900s, Muslim leaders under Ottoman rule planned to demolish the gate altogether. The orders were signed. The date was set. But on the very day it was to happen, Jerusalem fell to British forces. The plan vanished in the smoke of a power shift no one expected. Again, in 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israeli forces surged through the Old City. They had the tools, the authority, and the opportunity to unseal the gate. But they didn't. Why? A respected religious leader advised them, only the Messiah may open this gate. And so, they stepped back. These weren't passive delays. These were moments of restraint, as if unseen hands were holding the door closed, waiting for a specific hour. Even the construction of the Muslim cemetery in front of the gate, designed to prevent a priestly figure from crossing, may have been a strategic human move. But if prophecy is true, it was also futile. Because when the king returns, no wall, grave, or empire will stand in his way. The gate was never just closed for protection. It was sealed with intention, deliberate, calculated, and deeply symbolic. Long before stones were placed and walls were reinforced, a prophecy had already spoken about it. In the ancient words of the prophet Ezekiel, recorded in Ezekiel 44, a message echoes across time. This gate would remain shut because it had been entered by the Lord, and once sealed, it would not be opened again by man. And yet here's the tension that has haunted generations. The world often believes it can pause prophecy, delay it, even redirect it. Empires rise thinking they can control destiny. Rulers make decisions believing they can outmaneuver divine plans. But history has shown something very different. You cannot shut what God has sealed, and you cannot stop what he has already set into motion. And now, something feels like it's moving again. The strange thing about prophecy is that it rarely announces itself with noise. It doesn't always come with thunder, earthquakes, or fire from the sky. Sometimes it moves quietly, in the background, in the unnoticed corners of the world, in subtle shifts that most people overlook. It moves in silence, in shadows, in the almost imperceptible shifting of something that has been still for centuries. And that's exactly what makes the recent developments surrounding the Golden Gate in Jerusalem so unsettling and so powerful. Because nothing dramatic happened. There was no global announcement, no breaking news alerts, no press conference drawing the world's attention. Instead, what occurred was quiet, almost too quiet, a change that could easily be dismissed if you weren't paying close attention. From the outside, nothing has changed. The gate remains sealed exactly as it has since 1541, when Suleiman the Magnificent ordered it shut stone by stone. Its outer face still stands as an unbroken wall, untouched by time, refusing entry to anyone who approaches. But inside, something is different. For the first time in generations, the inner chamber, once completely inaccessible to the public, has reportedly been opened. Not forced open, not destroyed, not broken through with machinery or violence, but accessed quietly from within. A door long closed now standing open. No bulldozers, no explosions, no chaos, just an opening. And that raises a question that's hard to ignore. Is this simply coincidence? Routine maintenance? A small oversight? Or is it something more? Something that carries meaning far beyond the physical structure itself? Because when it comes to prophecy, timing is everything. Jesus Christ never described his return as something that would follow human schedules or appear neatly on a calendar. There would be no official countdown broadcast to the world. Instead, he described it in a way that feels almost unsettling in its simplicity. He said it would be like the days of Noah, when people were living their normal lives, distracted, unaware, carrying on as if nothing had changed until suddenly everything did. He didn't tell people to predict the moment. He told them to watch for the signs, to stay awake, to be aware. Because when that moment finally arrives, it won't be subtle. It won't be hidden. Every eye will see him. He will come with the clouds, and the nations of the earth will feel the weight of that moment. But before that kind of arrival, there are always signals, and not all signals are loud. Some come in stillness, some come quietly, like a gate that has been sealed for nearly 500 years, beginning to stir. Not shattered, not destroyed, but shifting, breathing, waking up from a silence that lasted centuries. Those who closely follow patterns of prophecy, the watchers, the observers who don't rely on headlines to see what's happening, are paying attention now. Because what's unfolding may not be the final fulfillment, but it could be something just as significant. the first whisper before the trumpet sounds. For some, the Golden Gate is just an ancient relic, another historical structure buried in layers of time. But for others, it has become something else entirely. A kind of countdown, a clock without numbers, a marker of time that doesn't measure hours or minutes, but moments of fulfillment. This gate doesn't tick like a normal clock. It waits, and waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. Waiting is preparation. It's the quiet build-up before something changes everything. Think about it. Every attempt across history to alter or erase the significance of this gate has failed. Every effort to break through it has been stopped. Every stone that was placed to seal it has remained intact, preserved against time, conflict, and change. And yet now, something is moving. In the world of prophecy, there are no accidents. What looks small to us can carry enormous weight. A single moment, a subtle shift, a quiet opening. These things often mark the beginning of something far greater. After all, the prophecy given to Ezekiel didn't begin with spectacle. It began with a whisper. And centuries later, something as simple as a man riding a donkey through this very gate changed the course of history forever. God rarely begins with explosions. He begins with alignment. And right now, there are signs that things are aligning once again. The Mount of Olives stands quietly across from the gate, just as it always has, watching. The Temple Mount remains one of the most contested and spiritually charged places on earth. Conversations and rumors about a potential third temple seem to grow louder with each passing year. And now, the gate at the center of so much prophecy is no longer completely silent. For those who believe, this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's a reminder of something that was said long ago. Not to fixate on dates, but to recognize the signs, to understand the moments when something begins to shift. When you see these things begin to happen, lift up your heads because those moments mean something. This gate was never just about stone and architecture. It was never just about history. It's about timing. It's about a moment that has been anticipated for thousands of years. And it's about the one whose arrival is said to change everything. If this truly is the gate through which he will enter again, then every detail matters, every movement matters, every whisper, every report, every subtle change becomes part of a much larger picture. Because if the countdown has begun, then we are no longer just observing history from a distance. We are standing inside it. For nearly 500 years, the Golden Gate stood in complete silence, untouched, unmoved, and sealed not just by human hands, but by something deeper, something prophetic. But now, that silence has been broken. Whether this opening is small or symbolic, whether it's the beginning of something greater or simply a moment that points forward, one truth is becoming harder to ignore. The gate is no longer still. And beyond this gate, across the world, the signs people have spoken about for generations seem to be increasing. Conflicts rising, uncertainty spreading, the sense that something is shifting beneath the surface of everyday life. And at the center of it all is Jerusalem, a city that has never just been political, but deeply spiritual. A city chosen, set apart, and watched more closely than any other. And within that city, a gate. And within that gate, a message that echoes through time. He has entered once, and he will enter again. But next time, not in humility, rather in power. Not quietly, but in a way that the entire world will witness. And when that moment comes, no empire will be able to resist it. No army will stand in the way. No wall will matter. No gate will remain closed. This isn't coincidence. This is alignment. A moment written long ago, whispered through generations, is now beginning to take shape before human eyes. The Golden Gate may still appear sealed from the outside, but it is no longer asleep. And now, the real question isn't whether it will open. The question is, will you be ready when it does?